what you're trying to accomplish with this protest.
So I represent Activists for a Free Syria. We're a local grassroots organization of Syrians and Syrian Americans. What we're doing today specifically is responding to the call by the Syrian National Council and the local coordinating committees in Syria for Syrians around the world to rise up in protest against the massacres that the Assad regime is committing against civilians.
Right. How do you think the rebellion is progressing in Syria? How far do you think Assad is from being overthrown by the Free Syrian forces?
So we're very optimistic that his end is coming soon. We have to stay optimistic. The Free Syrian Army is growing by the day. Every day we hear about more and more defections as soldiers have a very difficult time firing on their own people, especially unarmed protesters. So we think the Free Syrian Army is going to increase in size. They are pretty well trained and well organized, and we are optimistic that the end is near.
Sure. Do you have any idea what in the numbers how many men are involved with the Free Syrian forces?
It's very difficult to give accurate numbers. They're in the thousands, many thousands, but every day that number grows. So it's very difficult to keep an accurate count. But they're in the tens of thousands.
Sure. So do you think within a few months it might, or
oh gosh, yeah. We're hoping for sooner than that, but I think in a few months is realistic.
Right. Do you have any idea what type of government might form in Syria if Assad was overthrown?
The opposition, from the very beginning, the opposition has been calling for a civil democratic government in which all citizens are equally protected under the law.
Sure. In Egypt, there's been the Islamists have won a great deal of control. Do you foresee that would happen in Syria, or be more of a secular government?
I believe it'll be a secular government. The opposition has called for that. So many of us are working actively to make sure we have a civil democracy in Syria. Certainly the Islamic political parties have a seat at the table. They're established political parties. Everybody will have a seat at the table.
What type of government would you advocate? Would you advocate a secular government, or one led by an Islamic theocratic type of government?
A secular government. Very, very much a secular government. Syria has a very rich ethnic and religious mosaic, and everybody needs to be represented. So that the majority of the population is Sunni Muslim is a fact, but I believe the majority of that Sunni population is looking for a secular, democratic Syria.
Sure. So what do you think about the Syria's relationship with its neighbors, especially Israel? What do you think would happen?
So I think Syria is, I know that the opposition is working on formulating a coherent foreign policy, and Israel is going to have to be one of the questions on the table, as well as relationships with Lebanon, Iran, and others. The question of peace with Israel is certainly going to come up. The question of resuming peace talks will come up, but I don't know what the current policy is.
Sure. What do you think? There are some in the West that make these. There are some in the West that make these claims that the Arab Spring is somehow being originated in the West and somehow is manipulated by Western governments and forces. Do you put any credence in those ideas?
Most of the people who are making those claims are the very ones who are in danger of losing their political power. So no, I give absolutely no credence to those. The Arab Spring was inspired by decades of oppression and repression, and it was just time that the Arab peoples across the board rose.
So the Arab Spring is totally a grassroots movement by the Arab people.
It is a popular movement that's moving across the Arab world.
Do you think? What about Iran? What do you think will happen in Iran? Do you think the Green movement will rise up again and overthrow the Iranian regime?
I certainly hope so for their sake. I know the Green movement is getting more and more active, and we wish them all the best. They have a similar struggle.
Do you have any idea that the reaction that's going on now with the pressure that the U.S. government is putting on Iran with the sanctions?
Yeah, I really can't speak to what's happening in Iran because I'm focused on Syria.
Sure. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Thanks for covering Syria.
Thank you.